Yeah. That was the more
Good morning.
whatever.
Earlier than usual today.
Yeah, I made Paul do this podcast 30 minutes earlier than usual.
My light is dim. There's something wrong with it. It's not. I don't just have the lights down. Like something happened to it.
Like down and out. Like
No, it's like sitting there. It's like dim. It's on, but it's like really, kind of like me. I'm there, but not really. You know what I mean?
we can see that he's on, but he's just not all there today.
He's breathing, I guess. Just leave him alone.
It is Monday in all regards,
Yeah.
and Microsoft had a fun little Friday. They started the day off by saying, "Hey, we're gonna double the price of Xbox Live," and then they were completely shocked, Paul, that people were angry about this. Surprising. I mean, just
This is the tone deaf Xbox of old, isn't it?
yeah,
Like they've been kind of on message since they really blew it with the Xbox One launch.
yeah, yeah.
Right? I mean, they've had a nice little string of, doing well.
Mm.
And wow, just right back to square one, huh?
Yeah, just
Bad roll of the die there.
in the. I ended up writing up a thing on Sunday only because I didn't realize how far along. Like this wasn't a meeting they had on Thursday. Like, yeah, let's just do this. They quite literally printed up the cards, shipped them to retailers, told the retailers sent out notifications that you have to pull all existing cards by February 1st. They're going to be deactivated. Like this was a multi-meeting journey to get to this point, and then. Yeah, nobody thought to go hey, like it's a pandemic, like everybody's out of work.
Here's the problem. If I could just make this a little more personal, I think I showed this the other day. I have this card, right?
Yes.
This thing was my retirement ticket, and now it's just worth nothing again. So thanks, Microsoft.
That they saw the episode and said, well, let's screw Paul Thurrott over one more time before the.
This is a rare thing now. It's a 12-month Xbox Live Gold membership. You can't buy this anymore. This is
You got to buy
valuable.
2 6-monthers or whatever.
Yeah.
Because
Probably doesn't even work.
I think the thing to watch here is Microsoft very clearly is saying we want Xbox Live Gold gone. The question is now, how are they going to do that?
Well, here's the big problem. When was the last time they raised the price on Xbox Live Gold, if ever?
It's been a while.
So if you want to make this thing, it would every couple of years you raise it by $5. I mean, there'll be a few complaints, but I mean, whatever. You don't just double the price.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if they let the waters cool and be like, look, this is what we got to do. And then it is like $5 increments every other year until it's eventually just not really worth it or something. I don't know. But
yeah, right. Like when you need to make a change like this, you kind of phase it in.
Mm-hmm.
Grandfather people in, like if you want to stack them, buy a bunch, go ahead. Free to do that.
Yeah, the other I never really put this together, but it makes complete sense. Well, if you remember in Microsoft earnings, which there are earnings tomorrow, but there was a certain title that was never named, but it was always in the footnote of Xbox as quite literally boosting the revenue of the entire gaming org.
Yes, a year or 2 years maybe.
Yeah, for a long time. And then Microsoft, boneheadedly, was charging people $60 to play that game when they could have made it free and probably got more people to play it on their platform. And
the funniest thing about that is they never named it.
They probably couldn't. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, I guess, when you think about it, like as the platform provider, you don't want to single out like one game and it might upset other companies or whatever. But so there were several earnings statements in a row where they credited like an individual game that blah, blah, blah. They described it and you're like, oh, it's Fortnite. Like it was clearly Fortnite. But yeah, anyway, that stopped, I don't know, last year, I think, sometime.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You got a Razer book? I did not know this.
Yeah. So I'm going to write about this later in the week. Not the Razer book, just about the situation in general, because Intel had contacted me, and I assume several other people, about comparing new Evo-based PC laptops against, M1-based MacBook Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, sure. And so it's like, well, we'll talk after the holidays, whatever. And they kind of came back, and I could have gotten 4 laptops on loan, obviously. But first of all, I have a hard enough time keeping up with this stuff. I want to try to be more measured this year than I have in the past about that. So I picked the one that I already have, actually, and I've never reviewed a Razer before. And they're somewhat famous for being, in the gaming space, but they've been moving into productivity as well. This is just a straight up, kind of Ultrabook type laptop. But as far as I just so people know, I just want to be on the up and up about this. I went back to them immediately and I was like, look, just to be clear, I'll do this, but there's no preconceived winner and all that kind of stuff. Like, no. They were like, they're not. There's no influence from them in any way. I mean, we had a short briefing actually with Ryan, our buddy, Ryan Trout. Does he live in Cincinnati? Is that correct?
Yeah, technically not Cincinnati,
Not
but he lives in like northern Kentucky, which is right across the river.
Okay, so he's in that area. Yeah, but he's
Yep.
close to you, I thought. Yeah.
Yep.
So I hadn't talked to him in a while. That was cool. So it was nice I saw his name kind of popped up on the shipment of the boxes, and I was like, oh, cool, Ryan. Because we know, you've known him better than I do, but we've known him for years. And I talked to him the other day, and they were just like, no, it's look, we're not taught, benchmarks, whatever. This is all on you. Like however you want to approach this, it's up to you. I mean, just write whatever you want to write. We'll just. So just so people know, because I know sometimes you hear like, oh, Intel's sponsoring and blah blah blah. They're not paying anybody. They're it's not like that. And this is great for me because I'm kind of between Macs anyway. So I had returned that Mac Mini, right, and was going to just buy a MacBook Air, and now I have on loan a MacBook Pro. So that's fine. So I can ride that out for a little while. And I'll obviously I'm going to review both of them, but I'm also going to do some specific comparisons. Finally got an eGPU in. So I could test that kind of thing. So there'll be some anyway. I'll write more about this, but I just I know sometimes people see this kind of thing and they're like, oh, Paul's in Intel's back pocket, and it's like, no, it's not like that.
I'd like to be in the front pocket, like any pocket.
Yeah, honestly, if they wanted to throw me $1 million or $2 million, I mean, I could easily be in their back pocket. But the truth is, that never happened. And yeah.
It is Monday after all, early on a Monday, and not a whole lot really went on this weekend other than.
Well, so you wrote an Xbox edit. By the way, 2 premium posts one day, Brad. Seriously?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying. Well, I said I need to be in the front pocket, so this is how I'm doing it. This is
okay. I didn't realize we were playing pool. So, what was the premise of this Xbox article? So,
it was
big mistakes kind of thing.
To your point, like they had a really good run of just kind of not screwing up, and then in 1 week they announced a game that wasn't coming to Game Pass, and then was like immediately shot down. And then they announced that the gold being doubled, and then that was immediately reversed. So like it was just sort of 2 unforced errors that occurred this week that Microsoft pretty easily could have avoided.
I feel like you're not looking at the positive enough. For example, they shipped the new Halo game. So, right, I see what you're saying.
Hey, but at least you can play Halo Infinite, which the multiplayer is going to be free, and they did make it so that all free-to-play games are. I know this is crazy, free. So,
what's the point of Xbox Live Gold again? Really, like when you break it down, one arbitrary thing that I require, which is the ability to play online multiplayer games, right?
So I think you're paying for friends lists.
Oh well, you get the free games every month. Which
and then. I think matchmaking is actually done sort of on Microsoft ends too. At least it was at one point, like in the early Halo days. I don't know how like a game like Call of Duty does it, but
so I feel like in the world of digital goods, there are these arbitrary lines that you draw to determine value. So one of the best examples of this is Windows 10 and the different product SKUs. And Windows 10 Home has whatever feature set it has, and then Windows 10 Pro has whatever arbitrary feature set it has that make it maybe better than Home. Or have more features, however you want to say it. Like in the physical goods world, this doesn't really happen as much because a car that has more advanced technology or more features it costs more to make and costs more to sell. But I feel like Xbox Live falls into the former software services category, obviously, because that's what it is. It's kind of arbitrary. Like I'm not 100% sure that Microsoft expends more resources accommodating Xbox Live Gold subscribers than they do accommodating I don't know.
Oh, probably not these days. I mean, they got to build out the infrastructure regardless, but they're not going to give up their revenue. I mean, that'd be crazy for them.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, if at some point Xbox Game Pass surpasses Xbox Live Gold, I mean, maybe at that point you could just say, hey, look, and by the way, they could make a decision that the community would cheer by making multiplayer and matchmaking and whatever else part of the free tier, and then they could move the games with gold thing over to Game Pass or whatever.
What I personally think they should do is just make Xbox Live the online play free, but make your friends list limited to like 10 players or something.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Because for people who are just playing like yourself or whatever, somebody who doesn't want to play with other people, they just want to play online, like whatever. Because it's kind of hard to,
Yeah.
like at one point, I think it did make sense because there probably was significant investment for them to get that up
Yeah,
and running.
infrastructure
Because
and
like
yeah, of course.
Xbox Live launched like 5-6 years before Azure was even announced. Like they didn't have.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't have just these massive data centers around the world. Like now,
Yeah.
Gold or Xbox Live just runs on the data centers they've already got. Granted, there's cost to that, but here we are. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess one could. I don't know enough about how Sony handles this. I know Sony has its own subscription that's similar to this. It's not, what's it called? PS Plus, I think.
Yeah.
And then of course they have other subscriptions like PS Now and so forth. But I assume they have a similar arbitrary delineation. I don't know.
They got something.
Yeah.
I got a meeting. That had to end.